Yo, what's up, all you burner stoners and potheads? This is Weedman 420 with the Weedman 420 Chronicles. How are all you vipers doing out there, Mrs. Weedman?
Mr. Weedman.
How the hell are you?
Feeling? I don't know. Not great. That was like a really intense way of asking me how I am. I feel so much pressure.
Oh, man. Hey, all you vipers out there in the world. Hopefully you're smoking some big fat doinks while you're listening to the show. Mrs. Weedman and I are about to get normal with some Mayday that was given to me by my homie Nick. He is the general manager of High Haven Darien. He hooked it up with some Samps, and we are smoking Mayday from Galaxy Labs out of Richmond Park. Mayday by Galaxy Labs is a knockout. It delivers an instant relaxation with strong cerebral fog. You'll feel the crash coming on fast with heavy eyelids and an appetite to match. The aroma gives a funky blend of garlic, skunk, and jet fuel. Sharp, pungent, and savory, not for the faint of nose. The cross between JMO Crasher and I-95, that's the highway, of course, brings a funky blend of garlic, skunk, and jet fuel. Sharp, pungent, and savory, not for the faint of nose. Heavy sedative and perfect for pain management, sleep, or turning off the world. Mayday means it's time to land and lie down. This is 35% indica dominant hybrid.
Good luck.
Described as a potent, heavy sedative. The aroma and flavor, the primary scent profile is pungent and savory blend of garlic, skunk, and jet fuel.
Taste it. Taste it, Mr. Weedman.
Garlic loves me, but Mrs. Weedman doesn't like when I eat garlic.
Oh, that's real garlic. Not weed garlic.
No, not weed garlic. Why don't you like when I eat garlic, Mrs. Weedman?
Because you stink. It permeates
It does permeate. When I eat too much.
from your skin.
I just love garlic, though. Especially roasted garlic, and you spread it over some good Italian bread.
That's usually fine. It's the raw garlic, like a bruschetta or like a heavy garlic salad dressing.
But I love that too.
Scordalia. We've
Oh.
got some stories about Scordalia.
Yeah, Scordalia. You and Scordalia have some...
We've got history.
Yeah, you do have some history. So, but before we talk about the history of Scordalia and Mrs. Weedman, let's talk about 8 Decades. Tell us about it, Mrs. Weedman. That's
Sure.
some good weed, too.
Yeah. 8 Decades is our cannabis lifestyle brand on a mission to stomp the stigma and free the plant. We are trying to advocate through products. Our products are intended to be displayed, but more importantly, just to be used and not to stash them, because you shouldn't stash them anymore. There has been 8 decades of cannabis prohibition. In most states, it's legal. So there's no need to be hiding your rolling tray. So get a grown-up rolling tray, get some grown-up tools at our site, 8decades.com, where you can also find some great Weedman 420 swag. So check us out.
Nice. And please check out 8decades.com, because if you buy anything, it goes to support the show. And it's Mrs. Weedman's baby. And as you buy stuff on our website, we keep on doing episodes every week. So thanks for the support. We had some new people buy.
Mm-hmm.
And also, we have a new partner, but we'll tell you about it after the delivery on Friday. Or Thursday. We're super stoked about this new partner. We'll let you know on the next episode where you can go see our stuff live. So also, we were invited back to the Urban Legend Cup, round 3. Tell you a little bit about the Urban Legend Cup. On a dark and stony night, legend has it, Bigfoot and the Loch Ness Monster were visited by a ghost that shared with them the dankest nug ever grown. Now, these legends are forever on a quest to find who grew the legendary nug. And maybe it's you. The Urban Legend Cup brings together cannabis growers and enthusiasts alike for a day of friendly competition and flower celebration, all to determine who is growing the dankest bud in Chicagoland. Urban Legend Cup 3 entries are now open with home grower and pro grower bracket. All skill levels are welcome. Entry runs through November 6th with the drop-off events all over Chicagoland. You have plenty of chances to enter. All entries receive a cannabinoid test, and each of the 6 category winners receive a custom Heady Glass trophy from Otto's Glass. And if you haven't met Otto, Otto's the man. So new to 2025, though, is the VIP judging experience hosted at Made Gallery. Great place if you haven't been there. Chris, the owner's a homie. He's awesome. Judge samples using the Ganjier-informed grading criteria and judge yourself who is the urban legend. Go to highfocusmedia.com HLC for full details and tickets. Use the code WEEDMAN, all caps, WEEDMAN, for 10% off any ticket. Maddie, Nate, Shayna, Nicole, we're super stoked to be invited back to the Urban Legend Cup. You will see Mr. and Mrs. Weedman there, and Mr. Weedman will be rolling doinks, and Mrs. Weedman will be spreading the good vibes and the advocacy platform of what 8 Decades is all about and how our brand came about. Right, Mrs. Weedman?
That's right.
So check us out at the Urban Legend Cup on November 16th. We're looking forward to everybody. Come and hang out with us and get baked. All right. Remember back in the day, your first true hangover? Now, I've had many hangovers, but is it true that hangovers get worse as we age? Now, I had hangovers in high school. I think the first time I got really, really drunk, though, the hangover was pretty shitty, and that was it was my sophomore year. We won't talk about that right now. We'll wait on that one. But as I've gotten older, they don't go away like they used to. When I was in my 20s, I'd pound, and all of a sudden next day wake up like nothing happened, drink some water, eat some French fries from McDonald's, and I was away. I was going for another round, right? As I've gotten older, when I worked in the beer industry, I got hammered a couple times, and I woke up the next day and I was just miserable for like 24 hours. Like, not going to make it kind of hangover. Like, I don't want to move. My head is pounding. Nothing helps. I just want to die. The throw up, the pukes, the just, oh God, the head spins.
Pounding
Back in the day when Mrs. Weedman and I were younger in our marriage, we had those old school alarm clocks with the red light, right? The long, skinny.
The digital numbers.
Yes. Yeah. And when you were fucking wasted or drunk and you would look at that clock and it would just go around in a circle and you're just like, So the experts say whether the morning after really does become more severe as we get older, right? So ever woken up with a pounding head after a night out, have wondered if hangovers really do get worse as you get older, or whether it's just that you are worse at handling them now. Science suggests that the former is the case. Our body changes how it handles alcohol as we age, says Adam Taylor, professor of anatomy at Lancaster Medical School. The main reason is declining liver function. Alcohol is metabolized through the liver. Hey, so are edibles. Kind of funny, huh? Says Taylor. The liver's primary function is to detoxify things, break them down, and make them into usable units of currency for the body, or get rid of them if they're harmful. As we get older, though, toxic byproducts of alcohol linger in the body, though. The liver breaks down alcohol with the help of enzymes, but as we get older, it produces fewer of them, meaning toxic byproducts such as acetaldehyde, the compound responsible for many hangover symptoms, lingers in the body. It's not just the liver. The body's water content drops by 5% after the age of 55, partially because levels of muscle, where a lot of it's stored, decreases. Less water means alcohol is more concentrated in the bloodstream, and dehydration caused by the diuretic qualities, key culprit behind hangover headaches and grogginess. Hits harder. I used to tell my kids all the time, you're going to go out drinking, for every 2 drinks, drink a glass of water, right? How many times?
Always told them that.
I always told them that.
Pace yourself.
You need to be hydrated, right? Alcohol dehydrates you. So sucks that water right out of your body. Also, kidney function also declines with age, slowing the removal of waste products. You get this buildup of waste products in the body that have a longer circulating time to exert their effects, says Taylor. Can you prevent hangovers getting worse? No. But if you do drink alcohol, alternating alcoholic drinks with water and sticking to recommended weekly limits can help. Once a hangover strikes, there's no magic cure. Time is the only thing that will fix it, says Taylor. Time, water, and a little bit of Pedialyte. Mr. Weeman's favorite, though? McDonald's French fries.
Something greasy. Always does the trick.
Build that fat. So, Mrs. Weedman and I are going to tell you each a story of a hangover that we have gotten in our life. And I'm going to tell you one. Mr. and Mrs. Weedman had just started living together. We had just met. We're probably a month in. And we're living together. And I'm working at this bar called Woody's in Islamorada, Florida. Famous. Right? Famous. Yeah. The band that played there played 364 days a year. Big Dick and the Extenders were the name, and Big Dick was, I think I've told the story, 6'5",
dude.
Native American that played football for the University of Arkansas. Monster of a human, but one of the nicest guys ever. And so I'm working at this bar, Woody's. I'm 22. Yeah, I'm 22 years old. And Goldschlager
was a thing.
Just came out, though, and it was hot, right? And this place, Woody's, had got an extra couple bottles. So my manager and one of the other door guys and the bar back and one other bartender sat there pounding Goldschlager shots. Good thing they were frozen because they told you keep it. You got to serve this ice cold. Like if you have a freezer, this is how you want to serve it. And we were like, why is there gold in there? Like, oh, gold is something you could digest and it doesn't hurt your system. It was like, and it flakes. I was like, oh, that's fucking stupid, but whatever. And I hate cordial shots. I hate Jägermeister. I've gotten drunk on it, puked. I hate Black House. I hate Rumpelmitz. I especially hate Goldschlager. This was my one and only time ever drinking it ever again after this night. We pounded. I had to take a cab home. But before I left, I was stumbling, mumbling, and rumbling. The place, Woody's, where I worked at, was also made pizza. And there was a box on top of the oven, and the oven was already off and cold for hours. The place closed at 4 in the morning or something like that. And it's now like 6 in the morning. That pizza was sitting on top of the oven for probably 4, longer than that, probably 4 or 5 hours.
Right.
I opened up the pizza box, and it had one thing I don't like to eat, especially on pizza. It had green peppers, which I despise, and onion, which I love onion, but not on my pizza. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I need to eat something. I feel like I'm going to die right now. I eat a slice and I'm just like, this is gross. It's ice cold. I just don't have the know how to put this in the oven right now, warm the oven, whatever. I just ate 2 pieces just to try to help me get home. The local cab driver drove me home to our place. We lived on the 2nd floor. I literally crawled up the steps. You're sleeping. You're out cold. You're not even up. I'm crawling up the steps to the patio to get in the front door. I'm literally crawling to the front door. I get inside. I wake you up. I'm like, Susan, help me. I'm dying. I can't move. You wake up. You're like, what? I said, I'm going to die. I drank this shit with gold in it. I don't even remember that. Blah. And you're just like, get away from me. Basically, you're like, just go. I go in the bathroom. I think I dry heaved for like 10 minutes of just straight nothing was coming out at this moment. And I go in the shower. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go lay in the shower. I'm going to turn the shower on and go lay in the shower. Maybe this will help. I turned the shower on. It had hot water at the time. I'm in the shower. I must have passed out because the next thing I know, Mrs. Weedman comes in and goes, it's 8 o'clock in the morning. How long have you been in this fucking shower? And I'm like, wake up. I'm like, what's going on? And I look down on my chest and there's a couple peppers on my fucking chest because I must have puked in the shower. And there's, who knows, the rest of the water was running it off me. You know what I'm saying? Because the shower was still running.
Right.
But you said my lips were purple.
Because you were probably frozen.
Ice cold, that water. And I was in the shower for at least 2 hours.
Oh my God. You just couldn't move.
That's
done. A bad hangover.
I woke up.
Probably alcohol poisoning.
I woke up. I got out of the shower finally, dried off, freezing. I remember just fucking. And I think I ran to the toilet again and threw up again and again and again. I finally you got me in the bed. And I remember waking up maybe like 3 or 4 in the afternoon with the worst hangover. I think I've had a lot of hangovers in my life, but this one was just god awful. God awful. I mean, it was one of the worst. To wake up with a fucking pepper on your chest, a green pepper.
You're blowing chunks, literally.
So that is one hangover. And it was, I wasn't old then. I was 23, 22. But that hangover was rough. So now Mrs. Weedman has a Goldschlager tale to tell. So tell us your first experience with Goldschlager hangover, Ms. Weedman.
It happened to involve about the same 3-mile radius as yours. I was down in the Florida Keys with my dad. I was moving down there. And so we were down there for a preliminary trip to decide all of the things, was I going to school? Was I going down to work? Where was I going to be living? Let's look at some apartments, blah, 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 blah. But there was also a upcoming poker run, a Harley Davidson poker run. And we had property on the ocean, and then we had some commercial property. And the commercial property was vacant next to the Harley Davidson shop. And so there was concerns that they might kind of infringe upon the oceanfront property because it was acreage, like there was just land and people could have just gone down the driveway and camped on the property. And there's a dock, so there was a risk, liability if somebody was out there. Yeah, they're trespassing, but blah, blah, blah. So my dad and I, at like 10 o'clock at night, put this idea together that we're going to head to the Keys because we're going to figure out what's going on with this poker run, make sure nobody gets hurt on the property, and we're going to get me the logistics of my move done. Well, when we're down there, we were getting a lot of looks. This is South Florida. This is the early 90s. There's a lot of sugar daddies and cute little girls. So everywhere we went, there were just eyeballs on us. So we were at the Lorelei, where Big Dick and the Extenders also play on Sundays.
Yep.
Yeah, but they weren't playing. This was a Friday or Saturday night. And we went there for sunset. And we had a couple of frozen drinks at the bar. And next thing you know, this table of younger guys sitting behind us was buying us shots because they were trying to figure out what the dynamic was with me and my dad. Well, the next thing you know, my dad leaves me and he's sitting with the guys at the table. And then I'm over at the table with the guys. And we are doing round after round after round of Goldschlager. No, Jägermeister.
Oh, Jägermeister. Oof, even worse.
Oh, my God. I don't even know how we got home, honestly. Everything was just a blur after that. And then the next day, my dad's like, come on, Susan, let's go get some lunch. I was like, oh, I don't think I can do that. Oh, my God, it was terrible. I was puking out the side of the car. He went up to the restaurant to check to see if we can get in to eat. And I'm, head out the door. Blah. I'm like, I just need to go home.
I have another
I laid in bed all day.
I have another hangover
Fetal
story
position.
of yours. My 30th birthday.
Oh, God.
You went out partying the night
with the
before
girls. Yeah.
with my brother and a bunch of the cousins. And I was flying in from Chicago.
The next morning.
The next morning on my 30th birthday, my dad had something big birthday planned for me. And I come into my cousin's house and there's Mrs. Weedman on the couch in the fetal position under a bunch of blankets because she went and got...
Yeah, I was supposed to be helping Poppy to organize and facilitate this party at your cousin's house. Like we were cooking, we were getting a lobster boil, we were doing all this fun stuff to celebrate your birthday, and I was just stuck. Your parents were really great about it. Like I couldn't even get out of bed that morning. I was supposed to go pick you up at the airport.
All of a sudden I come out of the airport and there's my mom. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing here? She starts laughing.
They were laughing a lot.
She goes, you'll find out when you get your cousin's house. It was like, okay.
I was just on the couch
but
all day.
She was laughing the whole way to my cousin's.
It was funny.
Hangovers, everybody.
They're
no fun. No bueno.
Don't drink.
Mas.
Just smoke weed instead.
Yes. Or if you drink, drink in moderation.
Yeah.
You don't need to get pounded drunk anymore. So you ready to get the show started, Ms. Weedman?
Yeah.
All right. So cannabis might be the secret to winning cuffing season. So cuffing season. It's that time of the year when the nights get longer, temps drop, and suddenly everybody's looking for somebody to cuddle with.
Cuffing?
Cuffing, yep. Cuffing. But this piece argues that maybe, just maybe, there's cannabis twist to doing cuffing season right. Cannabis can provide the mood, the vibe, and the comfort that makes the season less about stress and more about chill. When you're high, you're more relaxed, you're less edgy about the dating app swipes, less worried about whether someone's going to ghost you. Some strains can help shift you into that laid-back mindset where you can generally enjoy the season instead of overthinking it. It's not just about hooking up or settling in. This article emphasizes using cannabis to manage expectations and emotions instead of forcing a relationship just because whether it's cold, you're using the plant to connect with yourself, set boundaries, and maybe make a smarter choice. The slow your roll mentality. Cannabis helps with that. The right product matters too. The article mentions how certain strains or formats, pre-rolls, edibles, hybrid blends can be tailored to the vibe you're after, whether that cozy, cuddly, creative, social, or introspective plus social. It flags how delivering the right mood with the right consumption method is part of the secret sauce. It's also a social connector. If you're cuffing up with someone, sharing a session can deepen the connection. Laugh, chills, conversation, watching a movie, passing the joint. Cannabis becomes the part of the experience, not just the backdrop. And if you're flying solo, it's not a fallback. It's a legit way to enjoy your company's light up and appreciate the season. And finally, the caution part. This article doesn't say get blazed and force a relationship. Nope, 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 nope. It says this can amplify your vibe, but you still got to bring authenticity, communicate, and especially be respectful. Cannabis helps set the tone, but you still got to show up. The season's for connecting with others and yourself. Now let's break it down. If you're out there feeling the winter chill, the extra pumpkin spice in the air, and there's a monster full moon going to be coming on Wednesday, it's going to look beautiful out there. And scroll on dating apps. Listen up. This year, maybe flip the script. Instead of, oh man, I got to find someone, try, how can I show up myself, stay real, stay elevated, and maybe someone flows in with that. Light up your favorite joint, maybe a hybrid that's smooth and social. Lean into the higher mindset and let the pairing happen naturally. If you already got someone in your orbit, great. Make your sesh part of the ritual. Maybe instead of Netflix and chill with zero plan, it's something like, let's spark one, pick a great playlist, some good food, laughter. Remember why we like being around each other. The plant becomes the glue, not the wedge. And if you're rolling solo, perfect. You're winning cuffing season by your rules. You're lit. You're comfy. You're vibing. Set your own tone. No pressure, no settling. Just you, your green, and the season's magic. So here's the takeaway. Final. Cannabis isn't just garnish on the cuffing season plate. It might be the ingredient that elevates the whole thing. It helps you chill, connect, and show up authentically. But the foundation's still you. Your choices, your vibe, and especially your truth. Cuffing season. Mrs. Weedman,
Yep.
does cannabis cause mental illness? And what I've said, cannabis sometimes just exposes it, right?
Mm-hmm.
I've said it about paranoia many times. I said about your thinking, exposes things that you need to figure out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Tell us about Ms. Weedman.
Yeah, and this is one of many different articles that we've read on this topic, and sometimes it's cannabis research that's in support of helping for anxiety and depression, and sometimes it is pointing out the potential risks of it. So this happens to be a risk profile. You like that? I don't know what I'm talking about. Just
Mayday.
Mayday. Mayday. Ship's going down. Ship is going down.
Don't smoke Mayday when you're doing a show because you're going down with the ship.
Okay, here we go. Cannabis and mental illness. Is it the cause? Is it the exposure to it? Or is it just a complicated connection? Does cannabis cause mental illness, or does it simply expose underlying conditions? This topic is complex, with research uncovering links but rarely offering simple answers. Let's start with what we know. Cannabis use is statistically associated with a higher risk of developing certain mental health disorders, especially psychosis and schizophrenia. Studies show that individuals who use cannabis, particularly those who start young and use high-potency strains, have a greater likelihood of developing psychiatric conditions later in life. But is that causation or correlation? Directionality is messy. People with existing psychiatric disorders are more likely to use cannabis, perhaps seeking relief from troubling symptoms. At the same time, those who use cannabis, especially heavily or long-term, are at an increased risk for developing issues like depression, anxiety, and psychosis. This bidirectional relationship means cannabis can both reveal and potentially worsen mental health symptoms. For example, THC, the psychoactive compound in cannabis, can trigger positive symptoms of psychosis, like hallucinations or paranoia, especially in those predisposed to those disorders. In fact, cannabis is prevalent in up to half of psychosis cases, and high THC strains carry a greater risk. When it comes to depression and anxiety, the link is more nuanced. Several studies suggest that heavy cannabis use may be associated with a small increased risk of developing depression. But it's unclear whether cannabis directly causes these conditions or whether people with depression are more likely to use cannabis. Short-term use can sometimes relieve symptoms, but repeated use may actually worsen depression or maintain symptoms over time. With anxiety, there's a similar pattern. Acute intoxication may lower anxiety briefly, but chronic use can complicate or exacerbate the underlying disorder. Cannabis use disorder, a problematic pattern of cannabis use leading to significant impairment, is another risk. About 30% of regular users may develop cannabis use disorder and are at a higher risk for psychiatric illness. So, what is the takeaway? The relationship between cannabis and mental health is bidirectional and it's complex. Cannabis can both unmask latent mental illnesses in those predisposed and, in some cases, contribute to their development or worsening. Genetic vulnerability, age of first use, frequency, and potency are critical factors. For those considering cannabis for medical or recreational use, it is vital to understand these risks, especially for those with personal or family histories of mental illness. If you're experiencing symptoms or have concerns, seek advice from a healthcare professional. Cannabis is not a simple solution for mental health. It's a powerful substance with effects that depend on many individual factors. Listen for future shows because we will continue to unravel the science behind cannabis and mental health. And do your best to stay informed, keeping in mind that education is key.
Always.
Always.
Great article by Nana
Mhm.
Smith from cannabis.net. Always, that website's got some great articles on there. So we're diving deep tonight into the world of sleep, science, and cannabis dreams. So pack that bowl, roll that nightcap joint, and let's drift into this one called Green Light to Sleep. Does cannabis work for insomnia? A case report and review that hits right where so many of us live, lying awake, brain buzzing, wishing for some real shut-eye. Insomnia, the beast that keeps 10 to 20% of adults tossing and turning at night. We're talking that can't fall asleep, can't stay asleep, stare at the ceiling kind of misery. Mrs. Weedman had one of those 2 weeks ago.
Because I didn't smoke weed.
Yeah, to help go to sleep. It messes with your mood, memory, and energy. Traditionally, doctors reached for the pill bottle. First, benzos like Valium and Xanax, and Z drugs like Ambien and Zopiclone or whatever the hell it's called. But here's the thing. Those meds come with baggage, tolerance, dependency, groggy mornings, even increased fall and cognitive risk, especially in older folks. So what happens when none of that works? Well, this paper walks us through the real case. A 37-year-old lawyer who lost his mom and developed chronic insomnia. He tried everything. Medicine had to offer, all the ones I mentioned before, dosage tweaks, all of it. Nothing stuck. His nights were still fractured, restlessness, full of anxiety. Then comes the switch. Full spectrum cannabis sativa oil, rich in CBD and THC. 1 hour before bed, sublingual drops. Slowly, the sleepless nights began to ease. He started staying asleep longer, waking up less. His anxiety dropped. His brain found that rhythm again. Now, this paper doesn't just stop at the case. It dives into why this might be happening. And for my science nerds out there, let's take a little brainwave bedtime story. When we're awake, our brains fire off gamma waves about 40 hertz for active thinking and beta waves around 20 hertz when we're alert. But when we close our eyes and chill, those slow down into alpha waves at 10 hertz. As sleep takes over, we drift into theta waves. That's stage 1 or N1 sleep onset. Then we hit stage 2, N2, where we're lightly asleep. Body temps drop, breathing slows, and we get those cool sleep spindles that help consolidate memory. About half the nights spent here. Then we get to stage 3, the one we all love, the deep sleep. That's delta wave territory around 1 hertz. That's the body's repair zone. Finally, we reach REM sleep, the dream zone, where muscle tone drops and the mind goes wild. Together, those stages cycle every 90 minutes. Deep first half, dream second half. Now, here's where insomnia screws up. People can't reach those lower frequency states. Their brains stay hypervigilant, constantly alert, overprocessing, stuck in beta when it should be in alpha or theta. Add anxiety, blue light, and doom scrolling. Forget it. You're up all night. That's where cannabis steps in. THC tends to shorten the time it takes to fall asleep, while CBD may help with staying asleep and regulating that nighttime anxiety. Let's not forget CBN to help the body relax for sleep. Full spectrum oils, especially those taken sublingually, offer a balanced, steady absorption. And for those who prefer faster effects, vaporize, don't smoke, can help too. The study notes vaporizers ease symptoms with fewer side effects compared to smoking joints. Can someone recommend a really good vaporizer for Mr. and Mrs. Weedman? There's so many out there, but I want somebody who's been using one for. I know there's somebody on YouTube that always tells me about theirs, and I can never find it. So, but if somebody out there can let Mrs. and Mr. Weedman know about a good, reliable, that doesn't make your bud taste like burnt toast,
Mhm.
please send me a recommendation on my Discord or email me at weedman420chronicles@gmail.com, or you can find me at Discord. I think I'm WM420 on Discord, I believe. So send us some examples. And if you make one out there and you want us to test it out for you, send us one. We'll be happy to use it on the show. So, uh, so now, not everything's a fairy tale. The research points out, while the case looked promising, reduced insomnia, better rest, less anxiety, it's still one person. Meta-analysis shows mixed results. Some patients find major relief, others not so much. The effects vary widely depending on dosage, strain, or your unique body chemistry. That's the effect, meaning small doses might calm you, but higher doses one can stimulate or disrupt sleep. And they also highlight the major medical societies. In England, Australia, and Brazil, now recommending cannabinoids for insomnia is in their guidelines. Why? Because across studies, there's consistent evidence of symptom mitigation. Not a cure, but a meaningful shift. Still, science isn't done here. We need long-term data, larger samples, and clarity on how cannabinoids influence both the physiology and pathology of sleep. So what's the takeaway on this? If you're battling insomnia, that weird but tired state, cannabis might just be the key to unlock the door to dreamland. But like any tool, it's about how you use it, the right ratio, the right dose, the right timing, and the right mindset. Don't just medicate the symptom. This is a great line. Don't just medicate the symptom, Mrs. Weedman. Understand the rhythm.
That's
So tonight, if you're lighting up that bedtime joint, make it intentional. Set the scene. Lights low, screens off, a calming playlist. We usually listen to good meditation music sometimes when we can't fall asleep. And boy, oh boy, like ocean waves and
or just sound like
sounds,
music,
sounds of like
drums, or
whale sounds too, just like harmony.
ocean
Just yes. Oh my God. So, set the scene. Lights low, screens off, a calming playlist, and a few slow pulls of that indica dominant beauty. Let the cannabinoids help your brain slide from beta to alpha, alpha to theta, and finally into the deep delta zone. That's your deep dive on the green light to sleep, my friends. Remember, the plant can't do it for you, but it can help you find it. Another good line. That was two banger of lines in this.
Mhm.
Ms. Weedman, you feel me?
I feel you.
Sounds like the time for sleepy sesh and some mellow tunes tonight, Mrs. Weedman.
Oh.
We're talking sleep. Where did your mind go, Mrs. Weedman? Dirty birdie. I've never heard of this before. Burning mouth syndrome.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of it before?
No,
Never
hadn't
heard of it before.
Nope.
So there's evidence about burning mouth syndrome and cannabinoids. Tell us about it, Mrs. Weedman.
Yep. Today, we're exploring the surprising connection between burning mouth syndrome, a chronic pain disorder, and the potential of cannabis-based medicines as a new way to manage the condition. Burning mouth syndrome, or BMS, is a rare and poorly understood disorder. Imagine a persisting burning or tingling sensation in your mouth, especially in areas like the tongue, the roof of your mouth, and your lips, without any visible cause. It can last for hours each day, sometimes for months on end. Other symptoms include dry mouth, an altered taste or smell, and BMS affects women much more than men and can have a significant impact on quality of life. For years, BMS has been something of a medical mystery. There's no clear cause, though experts suspect a mix of nerve dysfunction, hormonal changes, nutritional deficiencies, and even physiological factors like anxiety or depression. And unfortunately, there have been few reliably effective treatments. But that might be starting to change, thanks to recent research into cannabinoids, the active compounds found in cannabis. A new pilot study conducted in Italy and published in the journal Pain Medicine set out to see if a full spectrum cannabis extract could provide relief for people with BMS who hadn't responded to other treatments. In the study, 17 patients with BMS were given a daily dose of cannabis oil, prepared from a whole plant and diluted in olive oil for 4 weeks. Researchers tracked their pain levels using several standard clinical tools and also monitored their mental health and any possible side effects. The results were promising. Patients reported significant reductions in their pain, and their anxiety and depression levels also improved. Even better, the treatment was also well tolerated, with no participants needing to stop because of adverse effects. The cannabis oil used included a range of cannabinoids, including both THC and CBD, which may work together, the so-called entourage effect, to modulate pain and inflammation through our body's endocannabinoid system. It's important to note, though, that this was a small, open-label pilot study. That means there was no placebo group, and the sample size was small. So while these findings are encouraging, especially for patients who have struggled to find relief, much larger and more rigorous studies are needed to confirm the benefits and safety of cannabis-based therapies for BMS. In the bigger picture, these results add to the growing body of research suggesting that cannabinoids may be useful for managing certain types of chronic or facial pain. But, as with all cannabis-based medicine, legal status, patient response, and potential side effects, especially those linked to THC, need to be considered. For now, the message is one of cautious optimism. If you or someone you know is suffering from burning mouth syndrome and hasn't found relief from conventional treatments, it may be worth discussing cannabinoid-based options with a healthcare professional who's knowledgeable in the area. As research continues, we may soon have more reliable evidence-based ways to manage this challenging condition.
I'm sorry, I've never heard of
Yeah,
burning mouth syndrome before.
it sounds like a nerve issue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I have heard of something before, though.
Oh, what?
Burning ass syndrome. You know what that is?
Let me guess.
That's when I eat too much spicy food and I shoot fire out of my ass for like a week.
Like garlic and onions?
Can you recommend a topical for that, Mrs. Weedman?
Yeah. There might be some suppositories to help you out. You can head to Alabama and
What
pick
about
some
your
up.
finger?
Get out of here. Can you just, I'll carry you around.
You've stunned me like a basketball. Will you light that joint up, please?
Yeah, I will.
We need some more. Mayday! 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 Mr. Weedman's being gross. Well, Mrs. Weedman's lighting that joint. We'll go into political, state, and business news. Big news out of Ohio. Their legislator approved a bill that creates a process to expunge past marijuana possession convictions for under 2.5 ounces, legalized in 2023. If you got caught with a joint back in the day, and that's messing with your job or housing now, you might just get a fresh slate. Smoke break, smoke break, smoke
There you
break.
go. There you go.
Thank you, Ms. Weedman.
There you go, Mr. Weedman.
Mm.
Smoke, 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 smoke.
Mayday!
Mayday. I'm going to be picking you up from the ground in a minute.
I didn't drink no Goldschlager.
Oh, there won't be a fetal position. There'll just be like a nappy position. Nighty-night.
You just put a sign over my face. Mayday.
Yeah.
Mayday. Heads up for the industry. Dozens of growers in Oklahoma Bureau of Narcotics and Dangerous Drug Control licensing system, that's very long, have filed lawsuits saying they followed all the rules but got stuck in the paperwork backlog, inspections, certificates of occupancy, you name it. Regulators now say they'll delay license revocations while the backlog clears. Big move in Pennsylvania. Students for Sensible Drug Policy led a coalition releasing a sign-on letter urging the state legislature to legalize, regulate, and tax adult use cannabis for 21 plus, cleaning up past convictions. Each year, over 10,000 cannabis arrests hit folks in PA. Still to this day. This plan aims to stop that, boost fairness, and bring revenue. Let's light up that responsibly. Quick update. Starting January 1st, 2025, certain local jurisdictions in Illinois are rolling out new municipal and county cannabis retail taxes, up to 3% for cities, 3.75% for counties, plus 0.25% increments. Come on now. You don't need any more money. You don't need any more tax dollars on adult use sales, not medical. Heads up for retailers. Update your registry and tech now so the next sesh rings right. Thanks, Jason from Illinois Use Joint. Always bringing the great news here in the state. State hemp industry leaders and Tennessee Alcoholic Beverages Commissions have hammered out a compromise to give big businesses more time to translate to tougher state regulations and the potency and sale of cannabinoid products. The legal agreement signed last week sets forth to suppliers and retailers with legacy licenses issued by Tennessee Department of Agriculture before the end of the year and can continue to operate under the existing regulatory framework until their existing license expires. A subsidiary of a marijuana company just sued DoorDash, Total Wine and More, and others claiming they sold hemp-derived THC products in Virginia that exceeded legal THC limits and dodged the heavy regulation legal cannabis businesses face. The lawsuit argues that the unregulated products undermine the regulated market by being cheaper, easier to sell, and possibly riskier. New Hampshire House advances bill to legalize adult use cannabis despite strong opposition from the Senate and the governor. Lawmakers know the odds are long, but they're still voting to force the issue and to make opponents take a stand. Supporters say that over 70% of grantee state residents back it. Time to stop treating weed like a crime. Heads up, a fresh poll in Kansas shows 59% of adults back legalized recreational marijuana and 70% support medical cannabis. Even Republicans are shifting. Nearly half are now on board with adult use. Message, the people are ready. Now it's time for the law to catch up. A sovereign win in Nebraska. Omaha Tribe of Nebraska just approved its first marijuana license, launching a regulated adult use and medical market on tribal land. Even while state officials are dragging their feet on the voter-approved medical cannabis law, talk about taking the wheel, the tribe is saying, we'll show you how it's done, while the state debates. The federal appeals court backed Wyoming's ban on hemp-derived THC products like Delta 8. Sellers lost the challenge, confirming the state can outlaw these products despite the 2018 Farm Bill. The decision says states may regulate more strictly. Sellers say their businesses are hurt. More appeals likely. Quick update from the hardwood. Brandon Williams of the Dallas Mavericks was arrested in Dallas-Fort Worth Airport after TSA found about 1.5 ounces of marijuana in his luggage. He says the bag was packed by his manager. Man, throw that manager under the bus. He apologized for being a distraction. Now it's game time for to rein focus. Big move in Idaho. A campaign cleared to start gathering signatures for the Idaho Medical Cannabis Act aimed at putting medical marijuana access on the November 26th ballot. Natural Medicine Alliance of Idaho wants patients with serious conditions to access cannabis via regulated dispensaries and lifts marijuana to a less restricted schedule, regulating caregiver protections, but no home grow for now. Stay tuned. Idaho's heating up, and that governor said he would never, ever allow cannabis in his state, you know? Mm-hmm. And if the people want it, they'll probably do what Nebraska's doing. No, delay. But if there's any tribes in that state, you got to win. Mm-hmm. You got to win, baby. Start it off. Start the revolution. Ms. Weedman?
Yeah.
Now over to you.
I've got some more political, state, and business news. Kansas lawmakers just lit up a sharp debate. Can hemp-derived THC drinks be legal when adult-use cannabis is still banned? Kansas Bureau of Investigation told the Joint Committee if it's intoxicating, it's damaging. So yes, the weed loophole seltzers are federally okay under, I can't speak very well, under the 2018 Farm Bill, but state cops want clarity. Retailers and consumers in the meantime are stuck in the gray zone.
I like the gray zone.
The Drug Enforcement Administration flagged and shared an anti-drug ad campaign by Make America Fentanyl Free, a nonprofit tied to Donald Trump that links marijuana laced with fentanyl to overdose deaths. The ad shows a lit joint and says, "Best birthday party ever, except it was my last." Come on. The campaign's visual shock strategy is stirring up debate. Yeah, it is, across the cannabis community. Wow. Is it like 1980 or something?
1937.
Yeah. Minnesota's adult use cannabis rollout promised social equity license support for Black and brown entrepreneurs, but the reality's rough. Entrepreneurs say the licensing system favors big operators, while small scale equity applicants face big financing, zoning, and red tape hurdles. Might be good intentions, but the system still feels rigged. And this year will tell if equity means action. Fiona Ma, California's treasurer, didn't hold back. She called the state's adult use cannabis law a failure, saying enforcement is upside down, taxes punish the compliant, and the black market is still running wild. She's pushing for full descheduling and smarter regulation. Basically, let's just fix this mess and not just tweak it. In Maine, I think that's pretty smart.
I like this person.
Yeah. Make more logical laws around it.
Yes.
In Maine, a new citizen initiative petition seeks to undo nearly a decade of adult use cannabis legislation targeting the commercial market and home grow rights, even though possession and the medical program would remain. Backed by GOP lawmakers and former staffers, it signals the next big battleground for reformers who already know winning the vote was only one step. The longest strike in U.S. cannabis history wrapped up at a medical dispensary in Pennsylvania after 45 days. But raises, better pay, better holidays, and a contract won. But wait, over in Ohio, workers at another retail shop are still on the picket line, poised to claim the longest strike record. Looks like the cannabis labor scene just got louder, so stay tuned and we'll see where things go. Ohio's Senate just hit pause on sweeping cannabis and hemp changes, voting 32-0 to reject the House's rewritten version of Senate Bill 56 after the House passed it just a week earlier. Lawmakers say the House version left sneaky loopholes for synthetic THC and unregulated products. Now the bill heads to a conference committee. Legendary boxer Mike Tyson rolled into Pennsylvania's capital this week to spar with lawmakers and Governor Josh Shapiro about legalizing recreational weed. Tyson says his company, Tyson 2.0, is all about safety and accountability in cannabis and credited the plant with helping him ditch harder drugs. The fight for adult use in Pennsylvania just got a heavyweight in its corner. Yeah.
Yeah, it's good, Mike.
Did you know almost 1 in 5 young adults, or about 18%, are using cannabis to help fall asleep, compared to just 7% turning to alcohol? The kicker? Experts warn that it might backfire. Sleep might come faster, but the quality might drop. Michigan's legal cannabis industry is lighting up the courts. We keep hearing about it, don't we? Industry leaders filed to block the 24% wholesale tax. On top, that tax was just added on top of the existing 10% excise and 6% sales tax. This is set to begin January 1st. The argument is that it's unconstitutional and threatens legal shops, while lawmakers say it'll fuel a $420 million need for road repairs. Well, keep your eye on Michigan dispensaries. This is going to be interesting.
Yes, it is.
Yes. 3 cannabis companies in Louisville filed a lawsuit claiming Kentucky Lottery Corporation run dispensary license lotteries, that was a mouthful, are unconstitutional and opaque. They say the selection process skimps on transparency, with out-of-state winners dominating and the system not being much of a lottery in the public eye. This could shake the rollout of the state's medical cannabis industry. So, Mr. Weedman, it's back over to you.
I like it. Chicago's Brandon Johnson is making the waves. He's pushing he's pushing to tax and regulate hemp-derived products to get people high, and he wants to ban sales for those under 21. He says the city didn't get its fair share of marijuana tax revenue. What? So he's trying to beat the state at its own game. Age limit plus tax equals fresh strategy. I don't understand that. The state did $460 million in tax revenue last year. How did Chicago didn't get their fair share? How did anyone don't get their fair share?
Yeah, I don't know.
It's going into somebody's pocketbook, I tell you. In Metro Atlanta, a massive bust of over 500 pounds of marijuana and 9 firearms seized during coordinated raids across Woodstock. Sandy Springs and Atlanta. 3 suspects, 2 from Mexico and 1 local, were arrested, tied to operations linked with the Cartel Jalisco New Generation, legal pot scene or underground heap. Either way, the clock's ticking. Here we go again in Florida. Smart and Safe Florida just sued the Ron DeSantis administration, claiming state election officials are dragging their feet and ignoring the petition, which triple the required signatures to get adult use cannabis on the 2026 ballot. It's a turf war. Time. Reform campaign for state political machine. Big news out of Minnesota. The Fond du Lac Band of Lake Superior, Chippewa signed a historic cannabis compact with state allowing them to sell and distribute adult use weed off reservation statewide and open up to 8 retail shops. Good for them. It's all about sovereignty, partnerships, and expanding the market. Tribal rights meet cannabis commerce. Respect the roots. Stocks in the cannabis sector surged after Donald Trump sparked talk about reclassifying marijuana and boosting the industry, immediately driving up shares in major producers and the advisory shares Pure U.S. Cannabis ETF. The vibe, reform hopes, plus market frenzy equal green wave rolling through investors' portfolios. In Massachusetts, a campaign to repeal the adult use cannabis legalization is under fire. The Massachusetts Cannabis Business Association says signature collectors are using tricky tactics, sneaky, to get people to sign. Voters say they thought they were signing something about housing or fentanyl testing, not killing the pot market. So yeah, read what you sign before you ink it. Maybe you just signed your house away. Read it. September cannabis sales in New Mexico hit $44 million. And also, New Mexico could soon see cannabis sales reach $2 billion since went recreational. And based on this year's average sales data, medical use and adult use sales combined, sorry about that, it should happen by the end of the year. In New Jersey, a group fighting a proposed cannabis farm in Lebanon Township scored a win. The court ruled their opposition is protected free speech under the First Amendment. The farm's developer claimed their protests stalled businesses. But the court said, speaking out about zoning and pot operations, totally legal. So yes, weed and free speech, that combo's legit. Congress is scrambling over the fate of federal hemp law. 2 GOP senators want a full THC ban, while others say, hold up, that'll wreck the hemp industry. Options on the table, a study period, FDA review, even a THC cap instead of a full ban. Cite on what leaders pick, the outcome could reshape hemp future. Major shift alert. A poll found that 50% of cannabis consumers say they're more likely to shop at Target now that is selling THC-infused drinks. Especially the 34.4% said they'll shop there only if their local store stocks the drinks. And another 16.1% said they'll support Target just because. So yes, weed side beverages might be the new customer magnet at big box stores. In Illinois, Senate Bill 2725 just dropped. It would ban any hemp cannabinoid from being bottled or sold in a package that contains caffeine, including ready-to-drink beverages. The bill targets combos like CBD plus energy drinks, saying they're out of bounds under the Industrial Hemp Act. Keep your eye on the General Assembly. This could shake up the hemp drinks big time. Virginia, new seed-to-sale tracking system just pulled back the curtain. Medical cannabis sales are averaging around $15 billion per month statewide and roughly $3.6 million in the Hampton Roads area alone. Regulators say the data surprises them. Flower tops the charts, concentrates follow, and limited dispensary counts are heating up process. The state's medical market might be a smaller stage, but it's far from silent. Pretty good there. Virginia. That is recreational, but there's no dispensaries to buy recreational at.
Right.
But you can home grow. So get to growing, Virginia.
Yeah. That sounds like it's the only option.
Yeah. And you get a med card,
Right.
you know. So Mrs. Weedman, from secret code to dictionary, cannabis language goes mainstream.
Yeah.
Tell us about it, Mrs. Weedman.
Let's turn our attention to a fascinating topic, the evolution of cannabis language, from a secret code to a mainstream dictionary. This transformation not only reflects changing societal attitudes, but also highlights the broader cultural shift toward the normalization of cannabis. For much of the 20th century, cannabis users developed a code language out of necessity. The illegal status of cannabis and the associated stigma meant that users needed a way to communicate discreetly. This lexicon was more than just slang. It was a survival tool, fostering community among users while keeping outsiders, particularly law enforcement, at bay. Older generations might recall terms like reefer, pot, grass, Mary Jane. These words were crafted to be used in everyday conversation without arousing suspicion. Each carried its own cultural history. From the jazz era, there's reefer, to the 1960s counterculture pot. Beyond just naming the plant, the language included phrases for consumption methods and product quality, essential for a community operating in the shadows. However, as legalization spreads and cannabis emerges from the underground, this once secret vocabulary is evolving. The wave of decriminalization and legalization, particularly in North America, has diminished the need for secrecy. With cannabis now a multi-billion-dollar industry and recognized wellness tool, the language surrounding it has become more commercial, scientific, and sophisticated. This shift has introduced a professional lexicon to the mainstream. Dispensary refers to a legal retail store for cannabis products. Bud tenders are the knowledgeable staff members who guide customers through product selections.
The most important people in the industry.
Mhm. Cultivar, it's the preferred term over strain, describing a plant variety bred for specific traits. Cannabinoids and terpenes are scientific terms representing the chemical compounds and aromatic oils that influence the effects and flavors of cannabis flower. These terms not only reflect the industry's effort to legitimize itself, but signal a mature market moving toward an educated, consumer focused model. Conversations have transitioned from "got any grass" to discussions about specific cultivars and terpene profiles. The definitive sign of this linguistic evolution is the inclusion of cannabis terms in official dictionaries. Lexicographers base entries on widespread use, not propriety, and several cannabis related terms have met this criterion. For instance, the Oxford English Dictionary now includes 420, acknowledging its global significance and origins from a 1970s California high school group. Similarly, Merriam Webster has added terms like dank, now meaning of excellent quality, and vape, reflecting the rise of vaporizer technology. These dictionary entries mark a point of no return, embedding these words into the English language and reflecting a profound shift in societal norms. While legalization opened the door, digital platforms like TikTok and Reddit have accelerated the spread of new cannabis terminology. Terms like Zaza for high end cannabis and terp chasing for seeking specific flavor profiles originated online, spreading rapidly into mainstream use. This digital age has not only broadened the vocabulary, but it has also deepened it, with discussions on forums diving into the effects of minor cannabinoids like CBG and CBN. This reflects a generation of users who are more educated and curious, using language to articulate their experiences with precision. As cultural commentators note, this constant linguistic innovation is a hallmark of modern youth culture. The once secret language of cannabis is now a dynamic marker of cultural trends, accessible to anyone with a smartphone. It's a language of wellness and community, and it's evolving daily in the public sphere. The journey of cannabis language from clandestine code to dictionary acceptance mirrors the broader journey of cannabis itself, from stigmatized substance to a legitimate industry and social phenomenon. As we continue to explore this fascinating topic, we'll keep an eye on how language reflects and shapes our understanding of cannabis in the years to come.
Yeah, Cannabis News World, new website I just found.
Mhm.
Some good
Good articles.
yeah, some good journalism on there. Check them
Mhm.
out. International news. Across rural France, jungle grower is leading the hemp revolution, cultivating 100% legal organic CBD right in the Rhone Alps soil. They combine traditional farming, modern greenhouses, hand-trimmed buds, full lab transparency, and traceability. The message? Hemp's not just industrial, it's artisanal. France's quiet green wave is turning fields of tulips and grapes into the fields of hemp. New South Wales, the government responded to last year's drug summit by saying yes to 50 out of 56 recommendations, but hit pause on the legal driving defense for the medical cannabis users, kicking it to the expert review instead. So yeah, lots of promises, heaps of yellow lights, real reform. We'll keep watching Australia. Shout out to Tez. A new op-ed in the Financial Post argues that media cannabis could be Canada's next big export engine, tapping global demand, boosting GDP, and strengthening trade ties. In short, Canada's already good at weed. Now it can go more global and cash in. New poll wrote from Canada, 59% of Canadians now say the legal cannabis industry is an important contributor to the national economy. Even more interesting, cannabis use rates among Canadians are now nearly equal to nicotine. So, yeah, weed isn't just puff, puff, pass anymore. It's officially a part of Canada's economic lineup. Data alert. According to statistics, Canada's rate of police reported drug crime in 2024 was 31% lower than in 2019, thanks to in part of the 2018 legalization of non-medical cannabis. Cannabis offenses once made up 66% of all drug crime in 2014. By 2024, they were just 17%. Looks like legal green really cleared the slate on old school possession charges. Over in Cyprus, the Volt Party Cyprus just dropped a full throttle cannabis legalization proposal for adults 18 plus, promising tens of millions of new state revenue, hundreds of jobs, agricultural boom, hemp for textiles, biofuels, and fewer court cases. They're saying stop criminalizing and start regulating. Ooh, I like Cyprus. The island's black market have been thriving. Maybe it's time the policy flipped the script. Big move in Lebanon. Send me some Lebanese landrace strains, will you please? The government just realized cannabis cultivation for medical and pharmaceutical use, aiming to pull in about $1 billion annually for the state's treasury. A dedicated regulatory body will oversee domestic and export sales, turning fields that once hid illicit crops into legit economic ones. Talk about turning green fields into green revenue. Lebanon's going herbal. Heads up, Colombia just issued a decree 1138 of 2025 authorizing that medical use of cannabis flower for the first time. Pharmacies will now sell it with doctors' prescriptions, and small to mid cultivators get a bigger role in the legal market. It's a major leap for patient growers and the green economy. Green Party of Artoria, New Zealand, co-leader Chloe Sarbrick is throwing open the doors, asking Kiwis for public feedback on what sensible cannabis regulation should look like. After the 2020 referendum narrowly rejected full legalization, the party said it's time's ripe to fix laws that waste court and police resources. Share your thoughts. It's your voice, loud and green. Two-time South Island Golden Gloves champ Shannon Drake has been handed a 3-month ban for testing positive for THC during competition. Though the use was found out of competition and unrelated to performance. The sanction ends October 30th, so he's eligible for fight again. It's a reminder even recreational use can still ring the alarm bell in a clean sport world. He's from New Zealand, I believe. So pretty good international news right there, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
I like smoking weed and doing what, Mrs. Weedman, on Fridays?
You like to clean.
Yes,
you do.
On Fridays, I clean the house, and I love smoking weed. So in this story here by High Times, an unexpected pleasure of weed, the strain that turned those journalists' husband into a clean freak. Tell us about it, Mrs. Weedman.
Yes. So this is coming from Alana Frankel. She said, Dan and I have been married for over 20 years. And we have always maintained a very simple domestic arrangement. He does all the cooking, the 3 usual meals, plus a 9 p.m. bonus one.
Damn.
I know, right? I was like, that sounds great.
Yeah.
And she does the dishes. This has always been assumed and has always worked for us. That is, until one day I went to clean up and the kitchen was spotless. All of the dishes, including the ones from the 9 p.m. fourth meal of the day, were washed and dried. The pots and pans sparkled. The countertops were wiped with purpose. What prompted him to change out of this routine? Maybe it was the blue dream. Compulsive cleaning like Dan's need to do the dishes is known anecdotal effect of cannabis use, especially with sativa-dominant strains like Blue Dream. The effect is usually temporary and passes off as the high wears off, which, when inhaling, typically lasts about 2 to 3 hours. However, I need some scientific background on how this works, so I emailed my friend Danny Fontaine, an endocannabinoidologist and neurotherapist. I didn't know there was such a thing.
Me neither.
And asked her this simple question: why does my husband do the dishes like he has OCD after Blue Dream? It's the combination of the terpenes and the terpene ratios, which include myrcene, pinene, and B-carophylline, she said. She then continued, the terpene combination of the true Blue Dream strain enhances dopamine transmissions in the mesolimbic reward pathway. THC activates the CB1 receptors in the prefrontal cortex and the basal ganglia. which is the space that modulates dopamine release from the VTA area. Okay. However, she says, you need to take into account someone's DNA. I would say that the above is what the majority of human bodies would feel, she continues. But if your DNA is composed with certain markers, it can give someone a different experience due to how the terpenes and cannabinoids are digesting in their system. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Normally, anandamide can balance out and fine tune the start and stop actions of repetitive and habitual behaviors. But when someone consumes THC, it shuts off anandamide production, as THC is a stronger signal that can override the natural off switch. Some people can't digest THC, though. This would put someone in a loop cycle, a bit heavier, due to not being able to digest the compound. As the THC starts to metabolize, CB1 receptors downregulate. This is when the burnt feeling starts creeping in to our neurochemicals that push us into a space of contentment and parasympathetic state, which simply is when you kind of freeze, fawn, rest, and digest. She goes on to say, cannabis in general lowers amygdala reactivity and can dissolve anxiety boundaries, which also put people in a state of calm production. Now, I can see how excessive cleanliness can be a passion and only considered a disorder like OCD when it becomes distressing or significantly disruptive to daily life. But for now, I simply love our new working relationship. That was a little technical, but it's interesting.
Yes,
Yes.
very culturally technical,
Mhm.
So, I do enjoy smoking when I clean the house.
Yeah.
I
It
do.
does. You just get like in a
You get in the
zone.
zone.
You get in a zone. You just go.
Put some headphones
Yeah.
on, and
Put
you're
some music on.
phew,
Yep.
you're done.
Boom, boom, boom. You
Yeah,
just do your thing.
we get the shit done quick. So, there's a new show coming on. It's called being put on by High Times magazine. It's called "Don't Be a Clown," a sharp, twisted take on cannabis culture. The first look at "Don't Be a Clown" just landed. Watch it on High Times YouTube. Then circle December 1st for the full short film. High Times has teamed up with the official cannabis seed company on the project from filmmaker Dan Levy Daggerman, founder of High Concept Entertainment and the mind behind You, Me, and Her. Don't Be a Clown is a dark, high concept cannabis satire that nods to the Joker and Reservoir Dogs through a modern lens. It follows a clown who has lost his way with humor, style, and a social bite. Cast is Luke Jones, Eric Ochoa, and Gata with Lynette Shaw, Charlie Rossman, and Bergschaller. Produced in partnership with the official cannabis seed company and High Concept Entertainment, the short film premieres online on December 1st. Follow updates and new clips on Don't Be a Clown, official cannabis seeds, and High Concept Entertainment. Quick facts, trailer now live on High Times YouTube. Title, Don't Be a Clown, format short film. We talked about the creators, the cast. Partners are High Time Magazine, official cannabis seed company, and High Concept Entertainment. And the release date is December 1st of 2025. I'm going to watch it. I don't know if I'll watch it on December 1st, but I know I'll get to it at some point while I sit in front of my computer, getting stoned and, throw it on. Don't be a clown. Oh, what a good show, Ms. Weedman.
Always, Mr. Weedman.
You got anything else to say? Because that's the end.
That is the end. It is November.
Yes.
And we are in daylight savings time.
Oof.
So it's a lot of darkness out there. So some people get depressed from just a lack of sunshine. Some people just get down this time of year. So just know that people care about you and cannabis can help, but be aware if it's not helping you to maybe back off of it. Just listen to yourself and take care of yourself and love yourself.
Oh, that was a good one, Mr. Weedman.
Hey.
Hell yeah.
Hey.
Hell yeah. I love it. As Mrs. Weedman said, take care of yourself, everybody out there. Be kind to one another. The holiday seasons are around the corner now. It is a happy time for a lot of people, but it's also a sad time for some people, like Mrs. Weedman said. So, just take care of yourselves out there. Be wonderful to one another.
Yeah.
Crack a smile. Be nice to people.
Be nice. Say hi. Smile. Hold the door for somebody.
Take a little bit more vitamin D.
Yeah.
When you open a door for somebody, doesn't matter who it is, say be blessed. Have a great day. Day puts a smile on people's faces, and just if we go out there and all be a bunch of good humans, Man, I'm telling you, the world will be a better place. Right, Ms. Weedman?
That's right.
Well, let me tell you something, everybody. We love you out there. Thanks for listening. As Paulie always says, smoke smart, puff puffing away.
Puff, puff, pass.
Check out our cannabis lifestyle brand online at 8decades.com. Our custom smokes and accessories are perfect for your coffee table, bedroom nightstand, or kitchen counter. They're designed for you to show them off. The Canna community is also loving our hemp and cotton blend t-shirts, sweatshirts, scarves, and hats, finished off with our 8 Decades logo. We've got some awesome long-lasting goods that will be your favorite for years to come. 8 Decades, because a ninth decade of cannabis prohibition isn't acceptable.